Hey everyone. So this video is going to seem a bit out of order because I am going to show you guys all of my favorites from 2017, but I haven't actually done my December wrap-up yet, so that's kind of weird. But there's only one thing in my December reads that is part of my 2017 favorites, I think. I might include another category, in which case some of my December reads would be in that. I think I will do that, actually. So I have a couple December things, so you'll hear about those, but also, though, I don't necessarily need to say what month I read all of these, because that would just take a lot longer. So you'll hear about some of these twice, once here and once in my December wrap-up. And I don't have 17 things of 2017. I probably have more than 17 things, because there were just so many things, because I read, altogether, I think I read 83 different things, not books necessarily, but between audiobooks, novels, short stories, novellas, things that were like radio productions, stuff like that. I did, children's books, that was all like 80 something, like 83 or something like that. So because of that, I have more than 17 favorites. So what I've done is just sorted them out into categories. The first one that I want to talk about are things that I don't have to show you because I got them from the library. And some of them I can't show you. So actually, alright, what I think I'll do is actually just talk about them in the categories that I've already sorted, because both of these things fit into those other categories. So, alright, so first I will talk about my favorite children's reads, and I'll start off with the ones that I don't have to show you. I read several Neil Gaiman picture books this year. I read 2 or 3, either 2 or 3 of the Neil Gaiman picture books. I can't remember if I read Choose First Day of School this year, this past year, or in 2016. I think I read it in 2017. So the Tuesday trilogy, we'll call it, because I think there's only 3 books out at the moment, and that is Choose First Day of School, Tuesday, Choose First Day of School, and Tuesday at the Beach. I can't remember if I read Tuesday in 2016. Oh, I forget. But anyway, I love those books. They are so cute and awesome, and I listened to the, I think I listened to the audio versions as well. I might have Tuesday as an audio on iTunes, maybe. But anyway, I love those. They are super adorable. I love the illustrations. I think the, Adam Rex is the illustrator for those. I really, really love those. And I want to put them on my list to buy. Because honestly, like, a lot of his kids' books I love so much that I want to buy them in order not only to be able to reread them myself, but also to be able to eventually read them to my kids. Like, that I don't have yet. But anyway, and some others of his that I read and just completely loved, were, I think my favorite of all the ones that I read this year, even more so than the Tuesday trilogy, is Blueberry Girl. This was amazing. It was such a beautiful story. It was such a beautifully illustrated, like, it was like every picture was basically a painting. And I wonder if that was actually the case. The whole book was just completely beautiful and wonderful, and I can't even express how much I loved it. I just highly recommend, whether you're a Neil Gaiman fan or not, just go out and pick it up and read it, because, oh, so good. I got that from the library as well. So, yes, I loved those. And, talking about kids' books that I actually am able to show you, I have Is this it? I guess this is it, yeah. 2 young children's books, which are When We Were Very Young, by A.A. Milne, illustrated, it says Decorations, by Ernest H. Shepard. I loved this poetry book. My favorites were Disobedience and the one about Pooh, which is... Oh, I loved Buckingham Palace. That's one. Disobedience. At Home, I really liked that one. The Dormouse and the Doctor. What else? Oh, Teddy Bear is the one where Pooh shows up for the first time. If I Were King and Vespers. Oh, and it says, this is great, there's actually a note next to Vespers that says, this poem, being in the library of the Queen's Doll's House, is printed here by special permission. So, yeah, I thought that was wonderful. So yeah, I really, really loved this one. I thought the poems were fantastic, and, I'm just not used to I'm not used to associating poetry and Winnie the Pooh, but yeah, that one. And then Winnie the Pooh itself, by A.A. Milne, again illustrated by Ernest H. Shepard. And I just loved this so much because I read it around the same time I went to go see Goodbye Christopher Robin. And also, I'm so sorry about the lighting. I realize it's kind of weird. But yeah, around the same time I went to go see Goodbye Christopher Robin. And this just, it took me right back to when I was little. And I hadn't actually read this when I was little, but I have so many of the Disney movies, like Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2, and those are all, actually Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 isn't in here, because that's in the next one that I haven't read yet, that's at House at Pooh Corner, but, there were just so many stories in here where I knew, like, I could just see everything so clearly, and it just took me right back to my childhood. And it's really funny, because there were also some stories in here where I was like, this is slightly messed up, and I don't know if if I had seen one of these stories in one of the movies, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it, because that's really upsetting. But amazing. Sorry, I'm suppressing a yawn. And next is The Tale of Despero by Kate DiCamillo. This was 100% completely delightful. And this was one of those cases where I saw the movie, bought the book because of the movie, took about 10 years to actually read the book, read the book, thoroughly loved it, and then rewatched the film and didn't like the film so much anymore because it changes so much from the book, and I liked the book so much better. I still liked the movie, don't get me wrong, but it's so different. Her writing is entirely delightful. Her characters, the plot, just incredibly enchanting. Like you're reading a classic fairy tale, but it's a new fairy tale because it was only written in the 90s, I think, and I loved Despero. I loved the princess. This was just, oh my gosh, it was so good. I loved it. So that one. And then, my favorite kids book of 2017, and I mean, it's middle grade, so yeah, it's like at the older age of a kid's book, but it's School for Good and Evil by Soman Chainani. I have not devoured a children's book this fast in a very long time, unless it was like obviously a really short one, but for the size that this is, I completely devoured it. Pretty much every minute that I wasn't listening to this or following along, I wanted to be. It was just completely amazing and just takes fairy tales to a whole new level with such fantastic twists and such rich descriptions of this world. I just highly recommend this to anyone who likes fairy tales. This is amazing, and I'm so excited to read the second book that I have on my shelf somewhere back here. Next is favorite rereads. How are we doing on time? I may end up having to make this 2 videos, we'll see. But favorite rereads, and those, we'll start with the J.K. Rowling ones. Tales of Beedle the Bard. I was reading this, I think, alongside my reread for Deathly Hallows, and I just really love that she took stories that were not fully flushed out in her Harry Potter series and actually, like, made them real stories to the point of writing more stories that even weren't mentioned in the book. This is a delightful little thing, and I love this copy. Like, I think this copy is so much prettier than the US edition, because I got this when I was studying in Scotland, and yeah, it's just so much prettier than ours. And yeah, I love these. My favorites are The Fountain of Fair Fortune is definitely my favorite of all of them, but then I also love Babbity Rabbity and the Cackling Stump, as well as The Tale of the Three Brothers. And Warlock's Harry Hart and Wizard in the Hopping Pot are still very good, but they're just not my favorites of the 5. So yeah, this is just wonderful, and if you haven't yet read this as a supplement to Harry Potter, I strongly recommend it, and I strongly recommend it while you're reading Deathly Hallows, or like right after. Next we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and this is one where every time I reread it, it's one that I haven't reread as much, so every time I reread it, I discover, like, I notice something different, or I discover something else that I ended up really loving about it that I maybe didn't notice before, or that I had different feelings about at a different time. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this one. And then we also have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and this is the one I enjoyed rereading the most out of all of these, because it really is a pretty epic conclusion, and it's one of those things where I read it and I realize that even though I love the films, like, they made the films 2 parts, which I thought was great, because otherwise it wouldn't have been enough. And while I do love those, and I do watch those a couple of times a year, the book is still so much better. There's still so much that you notice that's, that they had to leave out, or things that they change where you're like, was that a super necessary change? And yeah, it's completely brilliant, and I love it, and it's probably my, oh gosh, I want to say, I don't know where this falls in my favorites, but I definitely like it a lot better than a few others. Like, I like it better than 6 or 5. But yeah, it's awesome. Okay, we're getting to a point now where I think I have to make this into 2 parts. So thank you so much for watching my favorites of 2017 part 1, and I will get back to you for part 2. Let me know what you think of any of the books that I've talked about so far, and I will see you guys for part 2. Bye.